Deal sourcing is pitched as the quickest and easiest way to make 3 to 10k a month in property investing. Now, we've been doing it for around 12 months and we completely disagree with it, and this video is going to explain why. Hi guys, I'm Jim, and along with my brother Dan, we have a small property portfolio in the northwest of England, as well as helping people invest into the northwest completely hands-free. This channel is going to document my learnings and experience boots on the ground in property investing. So if you're interested in growing your own portfolio and learning more about property investing, make sure you drop me a follow. So you're probably sitting there wondering, over 12 months, how many property deals have we sourced? Is it 1 a month? Is it 10? Is it 5? Is it somewhere in between? Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you, and the answer is we sourced 1 deal. That's currently going through at the moment, and this is going to command us a fee of £5,000. Along with sourcing this 1 deal, we've also managed to onboard 4 investors. Obviously, we wanted to do more deals than just 1 over the course of 12 months. We wanted a cadence of maybe 1 to 2 deals a month, but it's proved a lot more challenging than this, and this video is me being super open and honest with you guys about our experience, because I've got no agenda for you guys. I want you guys to be able to learn from our experience and mistakes, so if you do decide to start deal sourcing, you're going to be able to hit the ground running and start with some actual knowledge behind you rather than just some stuff people might tell you on courses. Now, there's been a couple of key lessons around the whole business of deal sourcing and portfolio building, which I'm going to talk through in today's video. First one of these being building your own reputation. Now, I'll be completely honest, I probably didn't understand effectively enough how important this was. Property is a super long-term thing, and people invest for the course of 20 to 25 years, and that takes a certain type of reputation to be in that industry, which is super long-term. And we probably feel like we're at a stage now after 12 months where maybe we've started to build that reputation with agents and investors. People get to know what area you operate in, and they get to know what sort of properties you're looking for, but this all takes time. You can't just come off like a 3-day course and then from Monday hit the ground running with good relationships with agents. This stuff does take time, and it compounds, and you've got to speak to them multiple times, and you've got to actually show you're interested in property deals and that you're going to take action on them. So we definitely underplayed how important building your reputation in the industry is, and over the course of 12 months it's taken us a while to get to the stage where we feel like we've started to chip away at it. Consistency is super important with this, and people need to see the cadence of you consistently sticking at something, whether this is investors or agents. Both of those people, you want to be following up with agents on deals, and you want to be sending deals to investors so they can see you're consistently working at this stuff, and that will build your reputation within the sort of industry, and that stuff does take quite a while. The next key learning is the product you sell. Now, we went super niche and we're targeting just buy-to-let properties. Now, this was a conscious decision because we felt it aligned with sort of who we are as people and the investors we wanted to work with. The major downside to this is going to impact the cadence of deals you can do. If you have the whole the whole breadth of property investment strategies open to you, so like rent to SA, rent to HMO, buy-to-let, HMO, SA, if you're sourcing all of those deals, the opportunity for more deals is going to be greater because you've got a bigger pool of strategies to be able to apply to property deals. We found with buy-to-let properties, it was difficult to get the actual cadence of the property deals through to investors to actually get that through to the back end. So definitely a big learning here has been to not niche down too much, and this is the challenge because everyone sort of says you need to niche down, get really good at one thing, which me and Dan do believe in. We just maybe come to the realization that at the moment buy-to-let maybe isn't sexy enough, or the product isn't good enough for investors. That's going to link to my next point about the economy, which I'll talk about in a minute. But we didn't want to start sourcing property deals for investors when we weren't 100% confident on being able to do the numbers on them, because people are going to, in our mind, people are going to be holding these property deals for 25 years. So we want to make sure we source them as solid, good investments. We don't want like a flash in the pan and then they come back to us after a couple of months or a couple of years and are like, no, that was a rubbish property deal you sold us. We wanted to stay clear of that because, again, like the previous points, we really value our reputation sort of within the industry. So that's an interesting side point about niching down, trying to find that balance between niching down but being broad enough to be able to get the amount of deals through which you need. So on the point of buy-to-let, the next point is the economy. Obviously, last year was super up and down when it comes to the economy. Well, mostly down actually, with interest rates, and this has put a lot of pressure on buy-to-let properties in terms of the cash flow people can get. A couple of years ago when we were at super low interest rates, when it was like 2% or whatever, you might have been making 250, 300, maybe 400 on some property deals, profit every single month. That's now been squoze, and people, you're doing very well if you're making above 200 now. Normally it's going to be 100 to 150 pounds, and that's just not sexy enough for investors given the ratio of the amount of money you need to leave in the deal. So typically we're seeing most deals around 10 to 15 grand is what you need to leave in the deal, so the return you're getting for that 15 grand in the deal might be 150 quid, and that is just a massive disparity there we found for investors. So again, that just sort of proves to us that buy-to-let from a sourcing point of view for that cash flow, it's not a sexy enough product for for people. Now, obviously, there is going to be unicorn deals. You might be able to get stuff where you leave less money in, you know, the sort of £5,000 or less, but the cadence of those deals are going to be harder to come by. The one deal we have sourced is a direct to vendor deal, and we did manage to source that at a significant discount, but it's still leaving quite a bit of money in the deal once it refinances out. So it just sort of shows that, you know, to be able to find that if you're waiting on those unicorn deals to sell to investors, not going to get the cadence through for the cash flow you sort of want every single month. But yeah, in summary, the economic situation with mortgage interest rates, it's made it difficult for people to get the return they need from the property deal. On the subject of that, I have got a video about how to assess property deals quickly, and I break down our full first pass system, including our pipeline, which I will link now. So if you want to check that out, you can get access to it as well. It's on Notion, it's all linked in. You can work out your return on capital employed, your profit every single month, and then you can also move it along the pipeline to track where the sort of property deal's up to. So make sure you check that out, guys. A massive point of learning for me and Dan, and probably where I think we've grown the most as business owners and property investors, is being able to nurture relationships with investors. Now, this is a side of property investing which people don't talk about a lot. It is essentially sales and marketing, which is a crucial skill to any business. But within property investing, it's a bit niche in the way that, you know, people don't always think about it as a business, but it is. You need to be able to find the leads, you need to be able to nurture the leads, and then you need to be able to convert the leads to onboarded investors. And this is very much a numbers game, and this was something me and Dan maybe didn't sort of appreciate last year. On the subject of this, it's probably worth noting that we are definitely in the camp of make sure you get your investors onboarded up front, as opposed to going out there, you know, throwing offers in with loads of different agents and then trying to scramble around for investors. We like to do it the other way. We find the investor and then we go and find the deal for them. We just think this is a better way of operating, and that's just a decision we made about how to operate our business. But we've definitely made strides in terms of nurturing investor relationships and then being able to onboard these investors onto our business. Definitely learned loads from this: how to talk to people, how not to talk to people. And this again is a whole side of property investing which they don't really talk about, you know, on the courses and stuff. No one will tell you how to actually, you know, how you should market to investors, how you should get them on sales calls, how you should onboard them, what documentation you need. So that's been a massive point of learning for me and Dan over the last 12 months, and that's probably the biggest win I'd say we've had over the last 12 months. On the subject of staying consistent with investors and stuff, this is where our investor newsletter has paid dividends for us, because we've got loads of investors on there who we send a weekly newsletter out to every Sunday morning. So if you guys want to get involved in that and see the sort of content we send out, we send deals in the area, and then we also send out some news update in the sort of general property industry. So if you want to check that out, the link will be in the description below. Another key learning for me has been in deal sourcing, it's difficult for you to actually control the delivery of the product. So if you think of like a traditional business, if you order some gear from Amazon or whatever, as soon as you click buy, Amazon have that in a warehouse somewhere, they can control it, and then they can get it shipped out to you, and then within a couple of days you've got it at your home. With deal sourcing, you might spend a load of time up front onboarding an investor, you've onboarded them, and then it's not like you can push a button and then have a property deal waiting for them. This is where you need to keep your pipeline full, because, you know, having deals constantly come through is super important. If you're finding most of your deals through an agent, you don't actually control that deal, the agent controls the deal. So that's something I've sort of thought is a weakness in the deal sourcing sort of strategy, is you don't actually have control over the deliverable product for the end user. And this leads on to a next point about how to make sure your pipeline is full. Well, the ultimate answer to that is just you need to do massive amounts of volume. Now, maybe we underestimated the fact me and Dan both still work full time. It's actually difficult to get out and do viewings. So essentially with deal sourcing, skills you need to understand really quickly are how to assess a deal on your sort of computer to see if it's worth further due diligence in a viewing. You need to be doing loads of viewings, and you need to be out there speaking to agents all the time. They're the sort of three things you need to be doing. And obviously, if you still work full time, it can be a challenge to do this, because, you know, the sort of office hours where the agents will be open and they'll be doing most of the viewings, me and Dan will both be at work all day. So it sort of feels like maybe deal sourcing is ideal for someone who is in their early 20s, maybe in that period of life where they don't have a job, they don't have like commitments and stuff, and they can throw the time, you know, Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, at just doing loads and loads of volume, loads of viewings, and, you know, just picking out the golden nuggets every single week for their investors. This is where maybe we underestimated just how much volume needed to be done in order to get these deals over the line. On the subject of the volume, the other thing which has been a massive learning for us is with deal sourcing, you can spend a lot of time on a deal and then nothing happens to it and you still don't get paid, which I suppose ultimately it's just the nature of business. But when you work full time and your hours are limited, this is another challenge, because, you know, you might put 2 or 3 hours into analysis on a property deal. The agent isn't going to accept the offer which you would need for your investor to make it work for them. So, you know, you've done a lot of that upfront work, and then, you know, fundamentally you're not getting paid for that work. So that can be, you know, you can end up putting a lot into something and not really having anything to show for it. But, you know, I think that's just the nature of business when you first start. What would my advice be to someone who's considering starting starting a deal sourcing business? Well, for me, it would be, number one, it takes a lot longer than you think, and number two, it takes a lot more volume than you think. And these are probably two meta points for life about most things you do. But yeah, definitely if you're working full time, I'm not sure it's that conducive with, working full time and being able to get the cadence of deals to maybe replace your own income, because you need to spend a lot of time doing this stuff. I'd also be more flexible with what you can sort of offer in terms of what deals you can source, whether it's rent to SAs, rent to rents, and that sort of stuff. But that will involve maybe some more specific knowledge about how to analyze those deals. Which leads me on to my next point, what we're going to do next, and will we carry on sourcing? The answer is we are, of course, going to carry on sourcing property deals. We've come to the conclusion that sourcing is a really good bolt-on strategy for whatever you're doing. So if you're building your own portfolio or maybe investing into SAs or HMOs, you can bolt on deal sourcing to that, because you've refined the skill of finding the deals and you know how to analyze them. If you act as a conduit for those deals will come through you in your local area. You can then start selling them onto investors. So I think we probably say we maybe regret focusing all of our time onto deal sourcing, because we think the real value add with it is if you bolt it on to a service you already provide. Which leads me to what we're going to do now. Well, with all the conversation around buy-to-lets not being sexy enough really, and it's tight on the cash flow and stuff, me and Dan are now looking at doing some HMO conversions into 6-bed HMOs. Now typically this is going to be outside of Article 4 areas, which most of the area we live in is outside of Article 4 apart from Liverpool. And we're going to be taking standard 3-bed properties and then converting them into 6-bed studio and ensuite HMOs. This offers investors the opportunity to be able to get a commercial revaluation, so you can pull more of your money back out, and then also you'll be able to get higher cash flow each month because it's a HMO and you're renting out by the room as opposed to the whole property. So we think this is definitely a more attractive offering for investors and ourselves, and we want to JV with people in order to grow our own portfolio and help them grow theirs as well. So our first steps into this, like we've done with most things, is we found someone who's experienced doing it and we paid for some mentorship. Now this is where I think you can get the most value add in property investing. So in order to do this, we've gone out and found someone who's got experience with this, and we've paid them to be our mentor, because we want to sort of fast track our learning and learn from their mistakes and any little hacks and stuff they've got. So we are going to be working with a guy called Justin Ingray from Nottingham, who's got a super big HMO portfolio, and he's looking to aggressively scale this year. And we sort of want to ride on the coattails of his systems and the way he implements stuff. I think this is the best way for us to move forward, because obviously with HMO conversions, they can be quite complex. Got to understand the strategy really well. So yeah, that's where we sort of see ourselves getting quite a lot of leverage out of this specific mentor. So I hope you guys have enjoyed maybe this more conversational type of video, sort of give you my general thoughts on deal sourcing and our next steps in property. Like I said, we are definitely going to carry on deal sourcing, because I think now we're at that stage where we sort of built our reputation up a little bit in our local area, and we do get a lot of opportunities passed our way. So if we can connect the opportunity with the investor, we are definitely still going to do that. But our focus now is going to be on offering the HMO conversion piece, which we think it's just a sexier product for investors and for ourselves as well, with the commercial revaluations and the higher cash flow. There's going to be lots of videos over the next coming months, weeks and years around this specific strategy, and I'll also keep you updated on any other deal sourcing deals we do and get over the line. But if you guys have got any questions regarding deal sourcing, I will help where I can. Make sure you drop them in the comments. I hope you guys like this more conversational, sort of maybe less scripted and structured style video. This is very much my feelings on the previous 12 months. It's definitely been difficult and not gone as well as we hope, but sometimes that's fundamentally business. I think it was a difficult economic year to be starting that business last year, particularly for buy-to-lets, but we are where we are. It's all part of the process. We've learned a lot. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. Check out the first past video. I will link that on the screen now. Any questions about deal sourcing, drop them in the comments. I'll also link my Instagram now. You can catch me over there. Post a lot of stuff on Insta as well. Yeah, and thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video.